I got something to say, and boy, do I have something to say. Or have I been busting at the gut all week long, excited about having Maggie Cook on the show? Woohoo! Maggie Cook is in the house. I cannot believe it. I reached to talk to her about programming, and the next thing I know is like, you think you could come on my live show? And she's like, Sandy, of course I can. I'll figure it out. Don't you worry. It was so exciting. She is the bomb. I mean, the bomb. I had the privilege of seeing her speak at Nobel, Keynote Speaking Association. I was associated with, said, you should go to Nobel. And there's going to be the most amazing woman at this conference, Maggie Cook. And that's an association for women business owners. And I've been a member for a while. I wasn't sure if I was going to go to the yearly event because I had so many things going on. But they're like, you are definitely going to want to see Maggie Cook. So I was not disappointed. I shook her hand for a few minutes. Talk about a rags to riches story. This woman is incredible. I cannot believe all she does. And then I reached out to my people. I'm like, what questions do you have for Maggie Cook? I'm waving hi to her now. I can't wait for her to push the button request in. I got to calm down. I know. I got to calm down. But not only are you going to love her story, but she is the real deal. Someone so freaking genuine. She so just wants to help as many people as possible. I like have chills because I'm so excited to have her on the show. You will understand. Maggie!
Hello. How are you?
I was just saying, I get excited by all my guests, but I have goosebumps that you're here today. Yay!
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I know. And here's the deal. I'm looking at all the questions I have from people. They're everywhere. And I was like, it's only a 30-minute show, but we'll get in as many as we can. And don't worry, I'll wave hi to everyone, as many as I can. Maggie's here. You can always reach out to Maggie. But before we get into it, I have to tell them a little about you. I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't know about you, but they should. So here you go. Maggie Cook is the founder of a company that she started with just $800 and later sold to Campbell's Soup for $231 million. Yes, you heard me right. She helps entrepreneurs discover their hidden personal power so they can increase their revenue and make a bigger impact in the world. After living a life of poverty in an orphanage for 18 years, Maggie developed some mindset strategies to help cope with challenges, and these strategies changed her life. With over 30 years of experience, Maggie is now dedicated to helping others unleash their full potential using her mind optimization techniques to accelerate their true success. And by the way, just stop here. She took the time because she saw how nervous I was last week to speak to a group of high school kids about entrepreneurship, and within minutes calmed me down. And by the way, it landed. It was the bomb. They loved it. And I go back tomorrow. Okay. Maggie is an internationally recognized speaker and an expert in the field of business and personal development. She has been featured in publications, magazines, television networks such as Daystar, Bloomberg, The American Dream, and many more. She's the recipient of numerous awards, including the Hall of Fame at the University of Charleston and Nobel Entrepreneur Prize in Mexico. She works with many Fortune 100 and 500 companies, as well as A-listers, including professional athletes, influencers, and thought leaders. Welcome, Maggie!
Thank you.
Okay. Let's just get right into it. When I asked, what was your statement to the women around the world and the men listening? Your purpose is you. Why? Why did you pick that? It's like, I love it when it's just this many words, but so powerful.
Well, I really believe that every one of us was born intentionally by design, and we all have gifts within ourselves to make a world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are stuck in life, in business, personally, professionally, and the not knowing what my purpose is. And it could be very debilitating for some. Really understanding and discovering or rediscovering what your purpose is the biggest, most single powerful thing that you can do for your life. Because when you understand that, you understand why you were born in this time and space. And that is why I believe that your purpose for existing is you, is within you. We just have to discover what that is.
Yeah. You know, I mentioned that to the kids in a different way. I believe everyone has purpose, little or small. Everyone has unique gifts. And they said, okay, Sandy, they knew you were coming on. I love these kids. They would love you. They said, quote unquote, ask Maggie, are you sure? Which is one of my favorite lines. Are you sure? Because there's many days it doesn't feel like that. Now, keep in mind, many of these kids, you know, are coming from homes that they don't get a lot of support. Mm-hmm. Not all, but some.
Yes. So the question is, am I sure that their purpose is...
Yeah, are you sure? Are you sure they all have a unique gift and a purpose here on earth?
Yes. And, you know, when I look back at my life growing up in an orphanage in Mexico, I didn't really know what that purpose was going to be, but I believed that I was destined to something bigger than myself. And I just embarked on the journey of being very mindful and identifying the possible things that I could, that lit up my spirit. But I didn't know that my journey of adversity was that gift. Because the more I suffered, the more pain I had in my journey, the greater the opportunity for me to tell that story of overcoming it and becoming the person that I am today. So my journey designed me. My journey was my design.
Okay. So I'm going to go right into the kids' next question. They want to know, how could you see a way out? I mean, if things were so bad and so tough, was it a person, or you just truly believed that you had a bigger purpose? Or did you have a mentor?
I've never had a mentor.
Oh.
Never. I just believe being stuck in a place, in a situation where you really didn't see anything outside of the barbed wire fence, you know, it was hard. It was tough. But there was a lot of belief in me and a lot of dreaming. And I'm so thankful for dreaming of becoming something. You know, I saw myself as a super successful woman with long hair, even though I have short hair, with a dress, with high heels behind a mahogany desk. And I believe I picked that out of a movie that we watched in the orphanage over and over and over again for many, many years. But I had that vision, and I really grab onto that vision and see what happens when you're born into less or poverty. There's this vision that this is how life is and it's never going to get better, and because people can't see beyond that. But when you start looking at life differently, that there's a whole world out there of possibility, you begin to open your heart and your mind to asking yourself the question, what if I just took that little baby step of courage in this direction? What if I did something like basketball that I never expected that would get me out of the orphanage, no matter what happened after that? Like, what if? Asking myself these questions, and just, you know, for me, the deep-rooted thing was really looking at hope for something better. Like, what if something shows up that makes my life just a little bit better? How can I begin to create it right now? How can I live inspired? When I was growing up, I dig a cave in the side of a canyon, and it was my secret hiding place, and I was meditating without knowing that I was meditating, you know?
Oh.
I have a timer. I every 30 minutes I do meditation. But hold on a second. There you go. I'm back.
They're going to love that.
So, yeah, really powerful stuff. But it starts with you. And sometimes people ask, you know, how were you able to do that in spite of the circumstances of how you grew up?
Yeah.
You don't have to follow anybody else's suffering. You also create your own suffering. You have a choice. You create what you put in front of you. And a lot of people that I grew up with didn't make it in many ways. Ended up in prison, prostituting, drugs, cartels. And people ask me, how did you, you know, do all this? How did you? It's because we all have a choice. We really do have a choice. Even if we don't know a lot of things, I'd still choose not to follow a certain path because I want a better life. And that was really the bottom of everything.
I'm going to write that really big. You don't have to follow somebody else's suffering.
Yes.
I never heard that, but I'm going to use that with my family. Do you mind? I'll
go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So the other night we had a big barbecue for Memorial Day, and I was telling everybody hi to them who's tuning in, our friends, and they're sitting there, and after a few maybe margaritas, a couple of the people said, "Why? She made $231 million. Why is she continuing? Why does she have these?" Because I told them about the mastermind course that I was wanting to put together. And they're like, "Please, call her now." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to call her now. And you guys have had a little, but I will ask them." So they want to know. And this is for you, Demo, because he asked me over and over. I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
So why do I continue to work in spite of my successes? And it's because when you stop thriving for or working towards something, when people retire, I find that they begin to die in a way because there's no really meaning or purpose in their lives. And a lot of them do. After they retire, they pass on. But the bigger question for anyone is, what is my why? Do I need a rediscovery? I sold my company. Why am I living for? And when you find that meaning, or what that new meaningful adventure is for you, you know, my hubby asked me last week, you know, I really want to I just want to retire. Let's just retire. I'm like, I'm never going to retire because I don't believe in those words. I want to continue to feel like I'm on purpose and a mission to make a great impact and inspiration to other people in this world and help others use their voice so that they can make an impact. And that to me is what drives me. It's what gets me up of bed every single day. I have that purpose and I say it in my mind when I wake up, before I go to bed. And it just, you know, the true purpose in life for me is happiness. And what makes me happy is what I do. And if I stop doing the things that make me happy, then I wouldn't be on purpose.
Thank you so much. Because they were like, listen, if I sold my company for $231 million, all of them were like, we'd be on an island somewhere with, you know, their honey bunch, relaxing and touring the world. And I kind of knew your answer, but I wanted them to hear it from you, which was the next question. I think you answered it. What gets you up in the morning? You know, what gets you out of bed? And you do have a purpose. So you really, okay, I've heard a lot of speakers, but at Nobel, you just blew me away. I mean, you're magical. And not only are you a phenomenal speaker, but you're the real deal. I mean, I just want to hug you to pieces. You know, every ounce of your being just exudes pure heart. And I'm not kidding you, folks. I was on another call with her, and Maggie could tell I was nervous about being with the high school kids the next day in entrepreneurship. She's like, well, I'll block out an hour for you. And the biggest thing that you told me, and literally it was like, okay, here I had my syllabus, and I looked at these kids, and I went, phew. You said, go with an open heart. And you want to know, that's what I could see they were responding to the most. And then I asked them a question, Maggie, and it was kind of sad. I said, and there's from 16 high schools all these kids are bused from. Do you have a teacher that inspires you, that you look up to, that you can't wait to go to the class? And they said, no. And so they wanted to know, how do they get that inspiration? Especially some of them were saying their family really isn't wanting them to succeed, some of them. And they don't feel like their teachers, I'm not saying all, but some of them were saying are inspiring. Where can they get that inspiration?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And, I'll start by saying that a lot of people have asked me, who is your hero? Who inspires you? As a matter of fact, when they filmed the Walmart movie about my products, that's the question that they asked me. And the answer that I've always had that I continue to give is the person that inspires me is myself. Because you are your own hero. Why look for something else when you can find greatness in you?
Oh, I'm so glad I'm going back tomorrow.
Awesome.
I'll take you with me. I'm sure they were already on their phones looking you up when I said Magie Cook, and they were like, all right, you asked this over and over, and a lot of my clients and friends ask this. What is holding you back? How if you don't know what's holding you back?
So it's really easy to discern that if you are mindful about it. What is holding you back oftentimes shows up as a pattern that repeats itself. It's something that continues to happen. Mm-hmm. That is that feeling of holding you back. Like, for example, let's say somebody's not great at relationships and they continue to fail, and they fell in the same way. Well, there's a pattern there. Mm-hmm. The question is, how are you going to break that pattern? And really, when you break those patterns and the recognition of it, a lot of times people can't do it on their own because they're so used to looking at their life this way. That's why I strongly suggest that they always look for a life coach or a business coach, because they can look from the outside in and see how your life is to be able to guide you and help you through a breakthrough. But a lot of my breakthroughs have been myself, just by being mindful and paying attention of the things that keep happening the same way. Usually when people hit either rock bottom or they're so tired of the same results, they're intentionally looking in and saying, okay, I'm done. I don't want this to happen again. What can I change? What can I do differently? Therefore, they begin to break a pattern in ways that they didn't even think. They don't even see the pattern. They just know that they don't want to keep experiencing that life. But for me, the biggest thing is really recognizing the things that are repeating themselves in order for you to be able to recognize to make that break. Because I'll tell you, I have had so many people come to me for business coaching, and 9 times out of 10, the things that are blocking them have nothing to do with their business and everything to do with something that's holding them back in their life, either from childhood or something recent that happened that they haven't really thought of. And that's huge. So when I coach people professionally, we always end up doing life coaching or business coaching.
Oh, true. I remember years ago when I was opening up another one of my clubs, and I thought I was hiring a business coach. And she's like, yeah, your profit and loss sheets look good. You're holding yourself back. I'm like, stop your nonsense. Wow. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, you make money, then you hold yourself. And she's like, you feel guilty and not worthy of making that much money. And of course, I thought she was a big fibber, but she was right. Mm-hmm. And that's what you and I were talking about the other day. It's within you, your blocks. And I'm a big believer, do not be stubborn. You cannot see yourself the way somebody else can. Getting a coach or a life coach is huge. All right, wait a minute. I'm getting inundated with, back up a second, Sandy. Maggie talked about meditation. And every 30 minutes, they want to know more how, when, and how long. Oh my God. It's like, wait, you skipped over the thing with the meditation.
Let me grab the timer here. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
So it's this timer from Amazon.
Okay.
And it's 30 minutes. And I love it because you can just turn it and set it up. The reason I do meditation every 30 minutes, and it could be a form of walking meditation, breathing meditation, and it's just for like a minute, and that's it. And usually I do breathing meditation. So I breathe in all the way up and hold it. So if I breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then let it go for 5 seconds, what it does scientifically to your body, it changes everything because it rebalances your entire system, including your hormones, everything. And when I do the breathing, I think about my intention for the day. Like, what is my intention today? And I write it down. That's one of my things that I do for my morning routine. What is the one thing that I'm intentful about today that I want to focus on? And I carry on that through the day. And this does not go off until my day is completely done. But every 30 minutes, that's the process.
Okay. So I want to back up, and I did not tell Maggie to say this, did I, Maggie? But this is something I push. It doesn't have to be long, a minute or 2 or 3 minutes. So it could just be like that quick, a minute. All right. How about what I do, Maggie? I don't do it every 30 minutes. Sometimes I get up every hour and I dance around like a crazy person.
Perfect.
Is that okay? Or I go out and hug a tree.
Perfect.
Same thing. Okay.
Yes. I think when you're...
So it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be long.
That's right.
It's just you do a check-in every 30 minutes.
That's right.
Okay. Let's go right into it. They want to know, what's Maggie's morning routine? When you get up in the morning, what do you do to get your head in that positive, powerful space?
So there's a couple of things that I do. The first thing is, as soon as my eyes open, I have reprogrammed my subconscious mind to say an incantation. And I do the same before I go to the bed. But as soon as I'm done with that, I get up. I go to do a little bit of exercise. It could be 10, 15, 20 minutes. And right now I'm doing speed walking. I hurt my knees a little while back, so I'm not doing heavy weight lifting or anything. After that, I come down and I get into the infrared sauna because it takes a lot of toxins out of your body. After that, I get in the shower. I go into the cold plunge, 35 degrees. And then after that, I go into my PEMF machine. It's a Tesla technology. It's called the electric taco. It's a whole thing that you put on yourself, and it does so many goodness for your body, your cells. It rejuvenates them and all that. And then I get in front of my Jove light. It's an infrared light that a lot of sports figures use it to recover and to just get energized, to feel good. Those are just a few. Some days I don't do all of them. Some days I just do some, just depending on how my body feels. Because it's so important to ask your body, okay, what do you need? What do you feel? How do you feel? Because for me, the only reason I do the things that I do is because performance is so important. When I'm getting up and talking to you here, like, I want to feel really good about performing and doing this. But the most important thing for me that I've come to really realize is how important life force is. And that includes what you put in your mouth, what you eat, how much sleep you get. I'm talking about quality sleep that you get, and what you exercise. If you did this for 30 days, your life would change.
I love you for saying that.
And for those people who are wanting to find out what their purpose and their passion and their why is, do the life force thing, the 3 things that I talked about, and it will be revealed to you, because your mind, everything, your heart center, everything's open. It's an energy that I can't explain. It's just so powerful.
I didn't ask her. She's not a bringer. Okay. All right. Next big question coming through.
Yes.
How long did it take to go
from $800, you know, they were saying, to, I think it was in 2016 is when you sold your company,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
How long was that process?
So 2004 to 2016, 15 or 16. I think 11 years-ish, something like that.
I have so many questions, but that's a whole nother podcast. Okay, they want to know. I know you probably get it all the time. Why salsa?
Ooh, good question. If you asked me 20 years ago that I would be making salsa for a living, I would tell you you're nuts. Because, I didn't know. Like, I had no idea. But one of the reasons why I pursued salsa is because there was an opportunity that presented in front of me. And when opportunities come, I just go 100% in grabbing them. And the reason I went with salsa is because I wanted to prove my father wrong, because he told me that I would never amount to anything, that I would die in prison and with AIDS. And so I was on a mission that I told myself, whatever gets in front of me, I'm going to make a success and I'm going to prove him wrong. But one of the things that I realized is that when your purpose is based on fear, you are not going to be as successful. There's always going to be a block or a stopping point if it's based on fear. He never recognized my success until a week before he died, and he wrote me a letter about telling me how he was congratulating me. It was just crazy. And I think I wrote that letter on Nobel. But it was definitely a defining moment for me, and a very important point in time in my life to make the rediscovery. And a lot of us need rediscoveries in life and in business. As a matter of fact, I charge myself to thinking about a rediscovery every 3 to 6 months, because life changes, times change, people change. You might have a death in the family. Maybe your purpose changes a little bit. And I just want to be as alive and passionate as I can in this journey that I have, because I don't know how many people don't realize this, but life is so precious. Every single moment that you're breathing and living is life passing you by. And it's so empowering to me that the more that I can be mindful and aware of just being present as often as I can, that is life to me. That is happiness to me. And part of that has to be, when you are aligned with your purpose, with your passion, it becomes something that, a life that it's truly worth living in a way that nobody else can take anything away from you, because everything comes from within you. You are the creator. You are the originator of that which you want to experience in this traveling time, in this planet.
Oh, Maggie, that's awesome. I'm going to just I'm going to record this for sure, but I'm just going to keep replaying that whenever I'm feeling stuck. But I want to back up a second, because you said that what was fueling you at first is, you're going to prove your dad wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But then you said something about fear. So did it shift once he gave you that letter, or when was the shift that it wasn't coming from, I'm going to prove you wrong?
So the fear was, I'm not going to fail. I'm going to be successful, but I'm afraid of failing.
Gotcha.
Because I don't want to be his prophecy fulfilled in a way.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then did it change gradually after the letter? Like, when did that change?
It changed immediately.
Oh.
Because when he passed that next week, I realized, number one, I don't have anybody else to prove anything wrong. And I sort of kind of felt like with no purpose. So I told myself, I need a rediscovery. What is it going to be? And I realized that my company, my salsa company, was just a stepping stone to something bigger, because I've been through so much adversity. And that brought me to the speaking element, which is what I've been doing since. Actually, speaking so way, like so many years before, because I was asked to speak on stages, but I didn't know you could turn it into a business until I sold my company. So that's when I really started it.
Maggie, thank you so much for taking the time to come on our show. I could talk to you for hours, days, and months. And I know my viewers, our listeners, they're going nuts with questions. And I'm sorry, guys, we can't get to them all. But before we go, tell them a little bit more about what you're doing with not just the speaking, but the mastermind also.
So you're talking about Speaker Mastery?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Speaker Mastery is whole-in-one, like all-in-one program that teaches you everything that you need to know about speaking on stages and getting paid. It is a business.
Oh, I'm getting paid.
It is a business, so you should know how to approach events to get paid. But it's a business of intention too, really aligning people with that purpose, that intention of why they're doing what they're doing and what they're going to be doing to be an impact to all the audiences around the world that they're going to be touching the lives of. So, I mean, we talk about crafting your talk. We have somebody that helps you do that after you meet with me to make sure that everything's aligned, your topics, everything, your website, video, everything has to be congruent, how to find events that pay. You get my list of contacts to find events, bureaus. I have an AI system to find events that pay. I have a system that can help you remember your talk if you want it word for word, so you never have stage fright and you can never forget it. I just shared that with our group yesterday, and it was pretty crazy, amazing. But the point is, I think that people need something that makes it easier for them to carry out their business without, and I learned so much, and I paid so much money to other people to learn to do the things that I'm doing now. I mean, bottom line, I started with $1,000 ask, and I didn't get it after I sold my company because I hadn't built the know, like, and trust of that video explaining who you are, the website, the topics, and all of that. Right now, my speaker fees range between 40 to 70K per hour. Yeah, and it's just because I've built the business and I've kind of built a better video with all the stage presences and stuff. And that's what people need to see to be able to trust that you can deliver a message. But most importantly, the message has to be, the big idea has to be aligned with who you are to be able to make a difference.
I'm so happy for everyone that you're getting to meet with. They want to know, how can they find you? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, you can go to MagieCook.com, Maggie with one G, COOK.com. And that has all my information, everything, including Speaker Mastery that people can go in and check out. But that's how they find me on Instagram and all social media. I'm at Maggie.com at Magie Cook on all social media. So that's how they can find me on social media as well.
Maggie, before we go, is there anything you want to say that we didn't get out to the ladies and men around the world?
Make sure that you think about today if what you've been doing all this time with your life, if it's actually who you really are.
Okay, well, that's a big thing to end on. I love it. All right. Hey, I got something to say, people. Don't worry. Some of you are like, I missed the beginning. When I'm finished here, I'm going to record it, and then we're going to put it on every single platform, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Maggie and I would definitely appreciate you sharing, like it, and rating it. And until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Toodles. Thank you, Maggie. I really appreciate it. Bye.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.